All right, welcome back to Pioneer Pathways, the podcast where we give you an inside look at Alfred State and some of the different offices around our campus.
You might have thought we were going to be done because the semester was over, but we're going to be here all summer long.
Yeah, this week we're actually taking a look at our alumni relations team, and we're going to be talking with John Lewis and Sandy Burdick a little bit about what they do and how they work to keep our alumni engaged on campus.
Yeah, this time of year we have 1,000 new graduates. We thought it was appropriate to introduce you to John, who's one of our favorite people on campus, and he'll be able to tell us what goes on in his office and how these new alum and the even older alums, anyone that's gone to school here can connect with them.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. Well, all right. Thanks so much for joining us, John. We're so excited to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Alfred State?
Thank you, Lukas. Thanks for having me. I am John Lewis, Director of Annual Giving and Alumni Relations here at Alfred State College. I have been in this role for almost 2 years now, and previously I worked in the admissions office here at Alfred State for quite a few years. I am also a graduate of Alfred State College.
Oh, awesome.
I graduated in 2001, so this summer will be my 25th reunion.
Wow. It's super exciting.
Yes, and with reunion, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit today, but I will be one of those folks that are getting celebrated for the 25th reunion as part of the class of 2001, reunion weekend being June 12th and into the 13th.
Yeah, speaking of reunion weekend, what services do you all provide for our alumni?
Yes, so reunion weekend is one of the big flagship events that Alumni Relations helps host every year back here on campus. We also host a number of events around the country. A lot of it is really in the Northeast, so we have a nice, pretty good size alumni group in the Rochester area as well as the Buffalo area, and we're continuing to grow. So we have alumni groups in Syracuse and towards New York City, but also when I mention growing, we're in Florida and Texas, and we even have a trip scheduled to California at the end of June, and there's a nice tie-in there since Alfred State College has a team participating in the Great Race again this year, and the finish line is in Pasadena. So we're going to host an alumni event where the Alfred State College alumni and friends who live within maybe an hour or two of Pasadena and have an interest can come find the team, do a meet and greet, see the Power Wagon, and again, connect with one another.
Yeah, I mean, we have alumni all over the place. I know you guys are on the road all the time, meeting with different alumni and friends, trying to connect with them and, see what they're up to. I know you mentioned Texas, and our guest speaker at graduation this year was an alum from Texas, which was super exciting, and we were super honored to have now Dr. Walter Sass come to campus.
Doc.
Yeah. So tell us, what events are you most excited for this year? You said reunion.
Yeah, so reunion's big. Later today, I actually have a homecoming meeting, and that's another, I would say, big flagship event. Homecoming this year, Saturday, September 25th against Utica. So Pioneers versus Pioneers. That'll be a great day and a great weekend of a lot of events happening, from block party on to tailgating, and usually the car show gets a lot of attention and a lot of participation from our current students, but the alum that come back for that and the families that come. It's homecoming and family weekend. That'll be huge. And even as you mentioned activities, I will also maybe plug that Sandy, my coworker, who I believe is in this episode as well, Sandy Burdick, her and I are going to a conference in Philadelphia this summer, and we've got some posts out online on our website, and we have some emails out to meet alum in the Philadelphia area while we're there, and that's really, we're only in town for one night, but we want to meet alum if we can. And we did something similar in Boston when we were at a conference 2 months ago, and sat with some alums from the class of '76. There were 3 of them, and it's just a real special night.
Yeah, we love seeing our alums getting connected with campus, and seeing how much they've grown also, in their careers and their personal lives, and seeing the Alfred State families that have grown out of here. Well, you mentioned Sandy, so why don't we take a break and take a look at the Alumni House where your office is, and get to meet Sandy Burdick.
Hi, I'm Sandy, the Associate Director of Annual Giving and Alumni Relations here at Alfred State, and this is our Alumni House. We encourage you to stop by and say hello. We're here to keep you connected after you graduate. And don't forget your bookmark and car magnet.
Thanks, Sandy, and welcome back. John, why don't you tell us, we just celebrated commencement. What are some things that new young alum can do to stay involved, stay connected to the college?
We did just wrap up commencement last weekend, and I was lucky to be one of the stage marshals on the stage watching graduates walk across and actually even helping hand out diplomas. And inside those diplomas had ways to connect, which was a new feature this year.
Yeah, we worked on rewriting it.
Yes.
So because we knew it was important that we wanted our alumni to know that there are services that, even if they're not in school, like from career development to our student records and financial services, that they can get the transcripts and things like that. Yep. But we also were trying to make sure they're connected to your office and what you guys can do.
Right, and that almost ties back into what I was telling Lukas, that yes, we have these established groups in Rochester and Buffalo. We want our young alum to join those groups and stay connected to Alfred State College. And that could even be as simple as going to a Rochester Red Wings game with us one time in the summer, or a Buffalo Bisons game. Or something we've been working on already and we're really crossing our fingers is maybe having a happy hour one night in the Buffalo or Orchard Park area and hopefully getting a tour of the new stadium within the next year or so, because we even have alumni connections in the building of that new stadium.
Yeah, there's all sorts of, actually, our offices would love to do a story of the alumni that have worked on the back ends of putting that stadium together. And I think, as a person that's joined you and covered different things at alumni events, they are better when you get the cross-generational alumni, the new alum that can be sharing with older alum their excitement about their new jobs, and then they can actually share similar type stories with each other, whether it's times in Mackenzie or the dining halls, like that. That's probably my opinion, is probably one of the best parts of any of our alumni events.
Yes, when we get students, young alum in the room, they feel like students to me because I've known them for so long. But our young alum in the room with our older alum who say, oh, the Pioneer Center, had a bar in the basement. And when the drinking age was under 18, we never even left campus. We get so many different stories because things have changed through time. And they get sharing those stories, and now we're seeing new friendships that are cross-generational.
And they could be connected not only with Alfred State, but they're connected with the types of degrees or the types of jobs they have, and the idea that they might live in the same area.
Yes, and I'm glad you touched on that too, Paul. One of our most recent events in the Rochester area, we actually invited Bill Dean from our architecture program, and that's again where we saw alum throughout different years, but who had tie-ins to architecture and to Bill Dean, and the conversations that flowed around that was just one piece of the night, in addition to all of the rest that we've talked about already.
Because you never know the 6 degrees of separation of, you could be in a field and you get introduced to an Alfred State person, another Alfred State alum that might be in that. The connections are pretty cool, and I know when we've covered events like that, there's business cards being passed around and stuff like that. Yep. And for our office, we love hearing the stories of how we can tell some of those stories.
Yes.
The stories of when there was no middle of the engineering building and it was just a wind tunnel, and now it's a beautiful auditorium, our largest classroom on campus. But
I smile because I was a student here when we had a wind tunnel, and I used to tell stories of students hacky sacking on the stairs there, and wouldn't you know, hacky sacks are back.
Yeah.
So it's funny tie-in now.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, we talked a tiny bit about the reunion. What are some of the special groups that you're excited to have back?
Yep. So I had already mentioned myself being a class of 01, so 25 years, we'd like to celebrate that class. And I would say almost more importantly, we'd love to celebrate the class of 1976, as this is their 50 year anniversary or reunion, 50-year reunion. So calling all of the class of 1976, we would love to welcome you back here to Alfred. And we also had some calls out and emails specifically to the class of 2016 for their 10-year and the class of 1966. We know some folks that are interested in coming back to celebrate their 60 years. But that also, Paul, doesn't mean that if you're from any other year, you can't come back. You know, all alumni are welcome to reunion weekend.
And the weekend starts on Friday, and there's options to actually live on campus.
Yes.
Stay on campus in the McKenzie complex, which, you know, is a residence hall that has over 1,000 students in it every year. There's probably a lot of connections with that. And it's it's different than staying at a hotel when you're coming, but you have the opportunity on Friday night with some events, and then even almost all day Saturday there's events.
Yes, and when you stay in the residence hall, you know, we're there working with people, and we have happy hour on Friday night. So there's a lot happening even right around McKenzie, but also we're offering a campus tour on Saturday after brunch, and before. It's also Hall of Fame induction weekend. I'm sure you know about that,
I
Paul.
do know
as
a little bit about the Hall of Fame
this year. So there's a lot happening on Saturday. I would say that's the biggest day of reunion. And typically on Sunday, and I'm newer to the office, but it seemed like in past years, people would get up and off they'd go. Well, now that the school has our ties to the Jet, we're encouraging folks to either eat their breakfast at the Jet or maybe even grab and go some coffee. So we're giving some coffee mugs out to folks as they spend the weekend with us.
What's the best place for, I know the answer, but what's the best place for people, alumni, young alum, older alumni, to find out about all these events?
Yeah, so obviously we want to go to alfredstate.edu, and on our webpage, which was newly designed over the last couple of months, there's a drop-down bar in the top right corner where you can say, well, am I a prospective student? No, that second choice is I'm an alumni. And when you click there, you're going to start seeing those ads right away for reunion weekend and all of the different things that you can do. Some of it's a little bit of a build your own adventure, whether you want to go to like a paint and sip or do like a cornhole tournament. And there's different options that even go along with those. So
yeah, so we really encourage alumni, even if they're just coming around this area, to stop in, give your office a call, see if someone's there. We'd love to give them tours and show them some of the changes and some of the great things that are going on here on campus. But John, thank you for joining us, and thank you to our audience for watching another episode of Pioneer Pathways.